I'm Joe Anthony, and we are really happy to be doing this event because a lot of times, you just don't have the time or you don't have the opportunity to answer a question such as why are so many celebrities using our product? What is with our product? Like, I understand, people have the option to choose whatever they want, but and we're going to talk a little bit about that. I wanted to first introduce Amanda Bobbitt is from Washington. Tell me again the particular location, unless you don't want people.
No, it's fine. Seattle area.
Awesome. And thank you. Welcome to being here. And also we have Sharon Menard is in New Hampshire. You're close to, where is it? What part of New Hampshire again?
So we're on the seacoast, just north of Boston.
Love it. Love it. Like Portsmouth-ish?
Yes.
Sort of? Okay. I used to live right between Portsmouth and on the Maine and New Hampshire border.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I kind of miss, Lobsterville. It's like
it is.
you can really enjoy. And also I wanted to just say, hey, welcome Esther. Esther is also Magic up in Canada. And thanks for being on here. And we may have a few others that will join. So what we're really looking at today is primarily three things. We wanted to answer three questions. Why drink antioxidant water? Like, what is up with antioxidant water? What kind of power does it have? And, what benefits are people actually getting? Second, we want to find out why are so many celebrities drinking this stuff? I mean, is it just like, do they know something that most other people don't know? Is that like the secret magic that celebrities have access to, or is it because they make more money and they can just afford to take care of their health more? So that's something that people really want to know, and I've had a lot of interesting posts. And also, what is bottled alkaline water? What is up with bottled alkaline water? And I will filter out any background noise later when I produce this, but for the time being, I'm sort of in I guess I thought lunchtime was over about an hour ago, but you know what it is here in the boonies. I'm up towards Boone, North Carolina, so it's unpredictable here. It's a college town, so you can't really predict. But anyhow, so what is really up with bottled alkaline water? Like, we know bottled water, and reverse osmosis and the effects of that. But what is going on with people actually marketing like, you go to the grocery store and you see alkaline 8.5, 9, 9.5, 10 alkaline on the pH side. What is going on with that? Is that something that is healthy? Is there any risk associated? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to answer that. So why don't we start? So the first thing that I wanted to do is find out what is going on with all these celebrities. And I found some interesting pictures here. If you can see the screen, I forgot that I had a Pinterest account that I had set up a bunch of years ago. And all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, let me see. And there's like over 45 images of celebrities that drink Kangen water. Can you see the screen okay? Does everybody see the screen? Okay. So let's find out, and let's talk a little bit about this. So maybe Amanda, maybe you can start us off, because I know you tell us a little bit about how long you've been drinking the water, first of all.
You bet. Thank you, Joseph. So I have been consuming this water now for the past 8 years. And, 8 years ago, my health was not the same. I was in a really rough time in my life. I was considered clinically obese, had mercury poisoning, adrenal fatigue. I was told I'd never have children. It had been over 8 years since I had a female cycle. And, I had tried everything. I'd been to every doctor in my area. I became the mystery patient, but I hadn't tried water. And that's what really shifted everything for me. And as a result, people started wanting to know what I was doing. And now there's people all over the world getting healthy one glass of water. So it's amazing water. Celebrities love it. Mom and dads, everybody really loves it. Animals even love it.
I love it. That's awesome. That is so cool. How about you, Sharon? How long?
I've been drinking the water for almost 10 years, actually. And, you know, same as Amanda, just so many life-changing results personally. And when you see your family have dramatic results as well, it's really hard not to be a believer. And I think that's why so many celebrities are interested. And, you know, the water, it makes you feel so good. I mean, it's living water compared to dead water. And the body knows the difference. And I love Amanda. Amanda does amazing explanations on all this. So I can't wait to hear what she's going to share. But I mean, I think that's why we see, you know, so many celebrities, they're all into the anti-aging. I mean, who doesn't want anti-aging? But I mean, you think about some of really the top A-list celebrities, and I don't know how much we can throw names around or whatnot, but they drink the water. I mean, we have top athletes in the world. I mean, the top 10 highest paid athletes in the world drink the water. We have athletes performing way beyond their age and killing it. They're drinking the water. I mean, that says something right there.
Amazing. That is so true. That is so amazing. So maybe we can kind of have this conversation. You know, what is happening in this industry? Because you've been drinking for 10 years. I've been drinking for about 9 or so. You know, Amanda is saying, and so many others now are really kind of, is this like a bandwagon thing or it's like a fad? It's just because people are doing it because, oh, you know, so-and-so is doing it. Vin Diesel's doing it, or, you know, Tom Brady's drinking it. And we find out that I think Bill Gates has like 18 machines, the SD501 unit. Is that what you think is making people just do it because, you know, their famous celebrity is doing it? Or is there really something to this water? Is there really beneficial, like you were saying, Sharon? Maybe you can talk a little bit about that, Amanda.
Do you want me to talk or Amanda?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see. Amanda, well, we'll just bounce back and forth. I mean,
Yeah,
it's okay.
I love to hear Amanda talk.
You know, I truly believe that the reason it's becoming more mainstream is because when it came to the U.S., it came to the Asian market. And not a lot of people knew what it was. And it takes time in order to get to this status, this level. And because of the price point, you know, the celebrities, of course, they're going to purchase it because they know how good it's for their health. And now they were able to afford. What we have now, though, is financing, which we didn't always have access to financing. And then when you really break it down, people are becoming more aware of our environment, of our toxicity, of all the health issues we're experiencing here in the U.S. And when you factor that all in, especially with the price of bottled water, people are spending about $150 on average to drink bottled water a month for one person. Life expectancy of one of these units is 30 years. If you were to continue to drink bottled water for the next 30 years, you're going to spend over $54,000 to drink that water. And so once you realize you have one unit that's 100% tax deduction, it'll cost you more not to own one than to own one, you start understanding more about the water and why you want it, why you'd want the benefit of hydrogen, alkalinity, absorption, and how this unit can get rid of every single chemical in your home. So it's awareness. You know, if you were to set this on the shelf at Walmart, no one is going to buy it because it takes a person to educate and to help understand in the public's eye what it actually is. And there will be a time, I'd say in the next 20 years, that you'll be able to find these at, you know, Costco, because people will start to know what it is. And it will be on everyone's countertop, just like the microwave, just like the coffee pot. And so we can get it now, or we can wait until we're sick to take action. And I always believe in, hey, preventative health care is where you need to be. Our health is our wealth.
Let's talk a little bit more about that. That's awesome. The antioxidant side. So what is in the water? So for example, people are now getting more aware of leaching in plastic. So plastic bottles has this, we're finding these little molecules of plastic in water. And we're drinking that, and all of a sudden, you know, we're going to start seeing that our health is going to be affected because we're loading up with too much of that plastic, which is not what our bodies were meant to absorb. So let's talk a little bit about this antioxidant. For example, people use the word anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, anti-aging. What is really happening? Maybe Sharon, you want to kind of address that part of it, because we see so many people are conscious of that, of the antioxidant, especially with all their habits of sugar loading and just high carbs and just eating processed foods that are affecting us. So maybe you can kind of help us understand how that can help.
Right. Well, we all know that antioxidants help to slow down, even reverse aging, where oxidation, when an apple is exposed to air and you cut open an apple exposed to air, it begins to turn brown. It begins to rust. And people don't realize that the water that they're drinking is full of oxidation. That they're drinking, not only are they drinking the plastic and the chemicals and dead water, but they're drinking oxidation that's literally speeding up aging, that's beginning to break down cell health, beginning to breed disease, cause inflammation, all kinds of things. Most bottled water in general is becoming more and more acidic as well, where we know that antioxidants are very powerful in bringing health and healing to the body. So our water just replicates water found in remote parts of the world where people don't have sickness and disease, and they found that it's extremely high in antioxidants in the form of active hydrogen. So hydrogen is actually the most powerful antioxidant in existence. So if you think about, say, vitamin C, so if it has a negative, that means a negative charge, that's an antioxidant. So vitamin C is maybe negative 40. Green tea, negative 100. Our new K8 machines, I get negative 900 out of my machine. That's crazy. I'm 43 years old. Most people think I typically get about 35. My husband's almost 44. He typically gets in his 20s. So I gotta catch up with him. But it just shows the power of the water. And I see so many. I wish I have done more before and after photos, because you see people get on the water and a few months later they literally look 2, 3, 4, 5 years younger. That it's doing something within the body. And that hydrogen, I've learned so much from Amanda, Dr. Peggy Parker, and all of this. They explain all this so well. But the antioxidant in the form of the hydrogen just goes in and basically allows the cell to begin to heal itself, allows water to come into the cell to be hydrated. You think so many ailments are just from dehydration. So when the body can be hydrated, when all the oxidation gets off the cell, we can start getting the inflammation off the cell, then the cell can begin to function properly. And because of that antioxidant negative charge, it gives you so much energy. So I know personally for myself, if I've ever traveled without the water, I feel like I'm dying. You can probably attest to this too, because you're drinking this dead water that's not giving you any energy. And so now I don't go anywhere. I take my jugs on the plane. I got my machine. I don't care. And this is medical grade water. So we can travel with it, which is the amazing thing. And I think the great thing about this company is it's not a fly-by-night fad like what you mentioned. This is a 45-year-old rock-solid company who's had these medical devices in hospitals for 45 years with tens of thousands of medical studies to back it. So we know we've got the real deal going on here.
Sorry about that. And thank you, by the way, Sharon. That was so well said. So I was just listening to the news. Everybody was paying attention to this Hurricane Dorian that was hitting the Bahamas and then it hit Florida, and how they were preparing for this, Category 5, Cat 5 hurricane. And where do most people go, or what do most people stock up on when they're preparing for some natural disaster? What's one of the things that is a staple? It's water, right? What happens when you go to like a Walmart or these Costco's or these big stores that have pallets and pallets of bottled water? They can't stock enough of bottled water, right? Now, what happens when you don't have bottled water? So people can't get water, right? Here's something that somebody had displayed, and I just thought of this, but our machine, our device, our unit plugs into electricity, right? There are companies that manufacture portable units that actually will give you AC, that will give you electricity instead of running like a generator or a power generator. You can actually take this portable, you can go camping, you can be in the desert, in the wilderness, and these devices, you just plug our machine into it. Of course, you need a water source, so all you do is you just find a decent water source. But the point is, when people say, I can't buy bottled water, our machine was one of the few devices that could still produce healthy water. In fact, most owners of our unit were not in line waiting to buy bottled water. That's one of the cool things that I thought, because somebody had mentioned that, saying, at least we don't have to wait in line to buy and stock up bottled water. Have you heard of other experiences like that, Amanda?
Well, just in general, Joseph, that we don't have to have bottled water anymore. My goal, one of my many goals, is to put the bottled water companies out of business because I really feel they're destroying the planet. 20% of people actually recycle. The rest of those plastic bottles go back into our ocean. In the vortex, in the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, there's a vortex 2 sizes the state of Texas, floating of plastic 3 feet deep. The fish thinks it's food, and the fish are now eating the plastic. And then, of course, we then consume the fish. So it's now becoming part of our ecosystem. And we've got to stop it because all these plastic contaminants are adding extra hormones to our bodies. One of those hormones is called xenoestrogen, which is a female growth hormone that causes cancer cells in the breast tissues to multiply and divide at a faster rate. So it's almost as if it's cancer on speed. And people are totally unaware that water is a solvent scavenger. Water will break down anything. How long has the water been sitting in the plastic bottle? Average, probably a month to a couple of years. It's sitting there leaching all these oxidants or contaminants or toxins. Now we are a direct reflection of that, and it's going to change our culture in the next probably 100 years if we continue to drink bottled water with just all these added hormones into the system that are unnatural.
So amazing. I was just hearing that today, actually. Somebody had posted. When I created this event, I got a lot of people, I think about 111, that were interested in, people post and they have all their own personal opinions and ideas. I was almost going to share them, but it was just too many. One of the things that I noticed, though, like a central point that everybody was saying is that bottled water is really something that has to go away. I mean, unless they start producing glass bottles or stainless steel or some other carrying method, because I know that's one of the things, that we as a company, we want people to be able to carry the water, and have it portable, like if you're traveling, you go on a plane or whatever. I think it was you, Amanda, that had mentioned, how would you categorize the water? Because most times when we travel, we go through TSA, they make us throw away bottled water, right? So tell us the experience of how you're able to bring the Kangen water on board.
Mm-hmm. Because of all the certifications, it is certified as a medical device. And when you're going to the airport, you've got to have water in order to survive. And so if you show the certifications behind the unit and take in water with you, they cannot deny you of the water. Sometimes they'll ask for a prescription. I've never been asked personally, but I've had clients that have been asked, and I have doctors that will write prescriptions for the water. Because dehydration, when you're flying, you're going to be more susceptible to dehydration, as well as more free radical damage, more toxicity, which if you're traveling, your immune system, you catch a cold from someone in the flight, your immune system is going to go down. Antioxidants help you build your immune system to help buffer that. And so it's going to help you stay more healthy while you're traveling as well as more hydrated.
That is amazing. Because I've always had that issue. And I'm like, what? I need water, and then you're forced to buy that whatever liquid you're getting on board the plane, which to me, it's not even worth talking about because it's not water. let's address this issue of, I really had seen this about a year ago, and I started watching the trend, maybe even earlier than that. But can we talk a little bit about what is alkaline bottled water? Like how can anybody make water alkaline unless they're putting some chemicals or additives? And what's on that added? Maybe Sharon, maybe you can talk about that a little bit.
Definitely. So, I mean, if you look in the news, I mean, across the board, they're talking about how alkaline bottled water is just like going through the roof. It's like the new craze. So obviously people are interested in their health. They understand the importance of alkalinity, but they don't realize that this is just chemically altered water. I mean, you think of a pool, you're going to balance the pH. What do? You throw in some chemicals. And so that's basically what they've done. Typically it's baking soda. Now, baking soda in small quantities is not going to hurt the body, but drinking it day after day, it begins to accumulate in the body and it can begin to have negative effects. And the thing is once that water goes back in the body, it just turns back into dead acidic water anyway. So they're just paying for very expensive baking soda, chemically altered water versus our water, which is true alkaline water, that the water molecular structure has been split so that we're drinking the alkalinity, and then the acidity and the oxidation that we don't want comes out another drainage pipe. So it's understanding, and some people say there's alkaline water and ours is alkalized water. There's different terminology, but we have true alkaline water that mimics or replicates water found in remote parts of the world. You go to these remote locations like where the Hunza people of Pakistan are, the pH is usually between 9 and 10 pH. That's just the pH that really our bodies love and put us in that optimal state of health. And so that's what our machines have done. Basically, they found when lightning strikes bodies of water that it temporarily splits the water molecules apart and creates this healthy alkaline antioxidant rich water. And that's all our machines do, is use electricity to split those water molecules apart. And again, we drink that good part that's going to give us life and health. And instead of drinking bottled water that, like Amanda says, is destroying our environment. And I mean, it's slowly poisoning people more or less. It's just, expensive, toxic water. So
It's so true. And you may have heard this, and I don't know if our audience, is aware of some of the molecular ways that water works, but this is so true, right? Our bodies are over 70% water, and what we are doing to the liquid that's in the body, right? Like our brain, I think, is 90% water, muscles, 80-85%. So when we're not hydrating ourselves with the right stuff, with the best stuff, it's going to show. So here, and I saw this test that somebody had done on, so there's two types of molecule structures. One is a penta, right? So you have like 5-sided molecule versus a hexagon, right? Pentagonal, hexagon. So you've heard the term, pentagon has 5 sides, hexagon has 6 sides. And the test that they were doing was they were taking water molecules and freezing the water molecule, and it would make a perfect, when it was correctly ionized or when it had the right vibration or frequency, it was forming a 6-sided molecule, or like a snowflake, if you just imagine that. That's what they call structured, right? So you've heard this term before, structured water. What can our machine do on demand? Maybe Amanda, you can talk a little bit about how this machine, how this unit really restructures the molecule side of it to make on demand. Like you can have it restructured on demand without having to do anything else to it.
Right, exactly. So when we take the water through a filtration system and then it goes through a process called ionization and electrolysis, it changes the water structure, making the water more bioavailable, puts a negative charge on it, lower surface tension. So it's allowed to travel into the cells where our cells become dehydrated and hydrates those cells and flushes out and detoxifies our body. On top of that, the unit restructures the water in 7 different ways, meaning that it makes 7 different types of water. So we can push a button on demand and make a water that kills 99.9% of bacteria and germs. It's been tested against bacteria such as MRSA, staph, gangrene, AIDS virus, E. coli, salmonella. And at the same time, that eliminates our household chemicals like bleach. No more do I run to the store and buy bleach. If you had bleach in your home and your children drank it, you're going to go to the hospital. With this unit, it makes a water that's a third stronger than bleach, 7 times stronger than hydrogen peroxide, but I'm not fearful that my children are going to drink it because they could drink it. It's not going to harm them. And so it makes a 2.5, it makes a beauty water that's great for the skin, the hair, tightens and tones, conditions the hair as well. Love the beauty water. It makes a medication water for taking prescription pills. Makes 3 different levels of drinking water. And of course, the higher we go up in the pH, the more antioxidants available, and the lower the surface tension, the higher results. So most of my clients like to drink the 9.5 because they feel they get the best results from that. And on top of that, we also make the 11.5 water, which topically it's great for inflammation. I've had clients that work out in the garden and their hands are just so stiff with arthritis, and they'll soak in that 11.5. And it's surprising that they couldn't close their hands, and all of a sudden, 20 minutes later, they're able to close their hands again after the anti-inflammatory effects of hydrogen gas. That's the therapeutic agent in the water. And so the 11.5 is great for inflammation. It also breaks down oil bonds. On our fruits and vegetables, we don't realize what you don't know, could be harming you. And so when you wash your fruits and vegetables with the 11.5, it's able to break down those pesticides, herbicides, fungicides that are oil-based, remove them, adding and prolonging the shelf life of our food, and it's healthier for us without all those contaminants on it. And it tastes way different. So that 11.5 is also my laundry soap, my carpet cleaner, my window wash. And so this is an eco-friendly machine that gets rid of and eliminates the chemicals, the bottled water, and you just can't go wrong. 30-year life expectancy, 100% tax deduction. I'm surprised that more people aren't purchasing this unit. Because, what I really found is that people wait until their pain is great enough for change. They think, I don't need to spend the expense of the water unit because I'm not sick. All right, but then when they do get sick, all of a sudden they think, I've got diabetes. And I remember that water machine, I should check it out. Well, why are we waiting until our pain is great enough for change? Why don't we take action like the Japanese, and they believe in preventative health care? If we all did that in the U.S., we wouldn't be sitting 53 on the longevity scale, spending $2.7 trillion a year in sick care management in the U.S., giving our money to big pharma, and that, my friends, is destroying us, and it's creating so many health issues. And if we all just looked a little deeper and researched instead of just caring about the money and seeing the big ticket, we would realize that our health is our wealth. We've got to protect it, and we've got to protect our family's health as well.
That's perfectly said. That's wonderfully said. So let's talk about the product for a little bit. So we have right now, how many devices that can produce all of the waters that you just said, from like the 2.5 all the way up to the 11.5. How many devices, how many machines do we actually currently have that will produce all of those?
Yeah, so we have the first unit that starts out is called our Junior 2. That one makes all the different waters. The different price points are because platinum is used in the unit, and it's the highest quality of platinum. It's $1,200 per ounce. The more platinum, the more antioxidants you receive, the better results. So the Junior unit has 3 electrodes inside, and it produces a very powerful water. That one usually lasts around 10 years, and we finance that one for as low as $23 per month. The next unit up is called our SD501. Comes in 3 different versions. We have a standard, which looks like a hospital unit, platinum version, which is the same thing with a different color, 5 languages. We also have an under-counter unit. Those ones produce double the results as the Junior unit. They have 7 electrodes instead of 3. Those runs are running for around $40 to $50 per month on those with good financing options. And then we have my favorite unit, which Sharon was mentioning earlier, the K8. That one is going to have 8 electrodes. You can travel internationally with it. It produces a negative 900 and has an additional electrode, and that one is only $54 per month with our financing. And so those are different machines. We also have a super machine, which is going to make higher, more volume of 2.5 and 11.5 waters for daycares, gyms. They're doing a lot of cleaning. And that one runs you around $65 per month on that.
Sharon, did you have similar experiences as Amanda with the different machines?
Well, it's interesting. I kind of use my father as an example. So he had the smaller machine, and that one was powerful enough. He was actually supposed to lose his colon. His colon was so bad. My granddad died of colon cancer. And I said, Dad, please just drink this water. So he drank the water for 3 months. The day of the surgery, because their option is always, we'll just cut out the colon. You know, that's how we're going to solve the problem. So the day of the surgery, he asked for a colonoscopy. They went in and they said, why did we schedule surgery? Your colon looks great.
Wow.
Canceled. That was with the small machine. So then he came up to visit me because this all been in the last year. He came up to visit me in last Christmas, and he was drinking out of the SD501, which I've had for 10 years. And he goes, holy cow, I can't believe the difference that I'm having that I feel drinking this water, the energy and overall health. And so I had been wanting to get the K8. So I gave my dad that SD501, and he had some health issues that with the smaller one still weren't resolving. We had a number of issues and medications and things that the SD501 then helped those issues to begin to resolve because it's a much stronger, more powerful machine. He said his energy just went through the roof. Well, then he came up last couple months ago, and I had the K8. He saw the K8 and he says, holy cow, this is incredible. I can feel the difference again. So it's kind of like we have good, better, and best. And I tell people it's totally your decision as to what you want. But you think about it, I mean, the SD501, the K8, I mean, these things can last 20, 30 some years. Like, what do you want to be looking at? Think how old you'll be in, say, 25 years. And this machine's still going to be going. Like, get the one that you want long term. And it's really such a minimal investment in terms of long-term health. And I mean, what price can you put on your health? Like Amanda says, people wait often. You know, not to say it's too late, but it's a whole lot harder when they're in the midst of this crisis versus being preventative. And so if we can just teach people this like the Japanese have, America, we could have a huge transformation in this country. And I think people are looking for alternatives in water. Like you say, we're 80% water. So, you know, this doesn't replace good nutrition and all of this, but 80% of our health is water. So this is the place to start.
That's a great story. I mean, that is so amazing. And I agree with you too, you know. So the 3 ways that people can start, you know, they can start off with a junior if that's what they can only do. And then they can obviously upgrade as time goes on, or they can go right, you know, into the SD501 unit and then K8. But the point is they really should get started. I mean, really start changing your habits now. Part of it is what I've seen in just other things is we have a drug, which it's technically not a drug. They categorize sugar as a food, but really it's so addictive it should be a drug. It should be illegal. Sugar should be illegal because one of the things about sugar is it creates inflammation. And as a kid, my parents didn't know, and I was just sugar happy. And my buddies, I used to have friends in elementary school that would steal money from their parents and buy us all candy and then just hand it out like it was nothing. And so you get addicted to that sugar and then growing up. But can we address this also, like how, so we're putting something good into the body. So we're going to be learning how to now hydrate our bodies. What about continuing to put in the bad stuff? Like how can we address that piece of it too? What would you say to people about that?
As far as sugar goes, I will tell you that the water, the hydrogen gas, the clinical studies that have been coming out with people that have sugar imbalances, blood sugar issues, the water is great at helping to stabilize that. And so those people that have those cravings for sugar, it's going to help to balance that blood sugar level. They don't crave it as often, and as a result, they don't tend to consume it as much. And so it's a healthy alternative to sugar as well, because you're not going to be consuming as much sugar.
I think a point too is both Amanda and I, when we started drinking the water, we both lost weight on it. And that's often a common side effect, because when you're drinking more water, you are less hungry. The sugar cravings begin to go away, and the water also helps the brain to produce dopamine. And a lot of times we're looking for that sugar craving to get like a dopamine fix and feel better and all of that. And the water kind of solves all these problems for us.
Yes. And, let's talk about the weight issue here for a minute. I told you I was clinically obese 8 years ago. It wasn't because I didn't know how to eat. It was because my body became so toxic. I was loading it. I was scared of sugar. So I was taking in artificial sweeteners, which I believe are almost worse than sugar. And what your body will do is your body's going to use body fat to protect you as a protective mechanism. So what happens is you put these frankenfoods, is what I call them, unnatural foods in. Your body will wrap the toxin around the fat around the toxin. And then it stores it away from your internal organs. And so your body fat is actually a good thing. It's keeping your organs alive. It's keeping the toxins away from those organs. So as you drink the water, it's going to go in. It's going to help that liver really flush and cleanse. And as a result, your body can metabolize these toxins and get them out of your body. And your body becomes a miracle, and it can absolutely heal itself given the right tools. And the water becomes that great tool, and your body becomes that miracle.
I mean, you almost have to look at how people are going to their doctor, and their doctor, most doctors, unfortunately, are just saying, take a pill for an ill. That's they're symptomologists, right? All they do is they just know, let me write you a script for that. Let me write you a script for that. When all they have to do really is, as we've been saying, just drink this water, right? Put hydrogen-infused molecules in their body. And I think we should talk a little bit about the different units, why ours is the preferred one, because we really haven't addressed that. Let's just come out and say, it's like getting the Rolls Royce, right? Because there's so many knockoffs, so many other companies out there. And when you look at all these celebrities, why don't they just buy the other ones? Why don't they buy the knockoffs? Why are they driving Rolls Royces or drinking the equivalent of the Rolls Royce? What's inside of our device that makes it the most powerhouse, the most effective from all the other ones? I think you started on that, Amanda, a little bit. You were addressing that in terms of, what's inside of our unit.
I can talk so long on our unit compared to everything else online. The first thing you want to note is that why is it that all of the so-called competitors are always comparing themselves to us? Because we're the gold standard. We have 3 certifications with the Water Quality Association in the United States. And that's a huge deal. No other company has that. Then we have to look at the companies themselves. Where do they reside? Where are their products made? How are they manufactured? And so if you trace that all back, like I've done, you're going to find that most of them are made in China or Korea. China is known for being knockoff, very cheap. And there's a brand of machines out there that you can go to Alibaba. They have so many different things from China. And they have a unit out there. It's a Tyant unit. And online it's selling for $3,500. And I found it on Alibaba, and I was like, oh, this looks like the same machine that they're selling for $3,500. And it was, I can't remember exactly, I think it was around $600 or $800. So I emailed them and I said, hey, I'd like to buy wholesale, and I'd like to buy 100 units. What can I get the price down to? And the person came back to me and said, we can do $300 a unit. Same unit, they're selling online for $3,500. Then you ask yourself, what quality comes from 150? because really they have to have a markup in order to sell it to me. So then you start looking at the different metals. Platinum is one of the most expensive metals, right? You look at all the units and that they have, and they're using alloyed metals. They're not using pure titanium and platinum that's surgical grade, that is very good quality. And so as a result, yes, the unit's going to produce great for the first 4 to 6 months, but then after that, the water starts grabbing the minerals, or the water starts grabbing the metals per se, and those metals, because water is a solvent, it's going to break them down. It's going to start to add them into the water. And one of my good friends is a brain doctor, Dr. Corinne Allen. You can research her online. She's got a whole hour video on your brain on water. And she had, at one point, 10 units that were just sitting in her closet that her clients would bring to her and say, hey, I want you to test this. And she said, no, they're leaching metals, heavy metals into the water. Do not drink that water. So she was not a fan of the Kangen water machine when she heard about it, because she tested all these other ones. She's like, this is not good for you. Well, long story short, she tested the Kangen water machine and said, all right, this is the gold ticket. This is the top of the top of the top. And now since she's added that to her clinic, she's noticed 43% increase in brain function from autism, Asperger's, ADHD, bipolar, all kinds of different brain issues. So when it comes down to our health, I tell my clients this. If you got diagnosed today with brain cancer, would you look on the internet for the cheapest brain doctor? No, you would get the best. And so it's coming to our health. We've got to invest in the best. And it always surprises me what these competitors are actually going to say just to make a sale. You can trust but verify. So even if they have the certification up there on their website, verify it, just like I've done. I've found this so-called Tient, they claim they have the Water Quality Association Gold Seal. If you go to the WQA, you will find their filter. The machine is not certified, but their filter is. That's like buying a car, and the steering wheel is certified, but the whole car is not certified. And so we really got to look at the quality of what we're putting into our body.
I love it. I love it. Did you have a similar experience, Sharon, as well?
Well, basically what I found is the people that want to, quote, save money and go out and buy an alternative machine, always the machine ends up in the trash and they come back and buy a Kangen water machine. Because once you drink Kangen water, you know what that feels like. You recognize, I don't feel the same on this other machine. And for example, so many months back, I had a family, they said, no, they got, I think it was a Life ionizer. I've had Alkaviva. I mean, all these top name brands. So they said it's only $2,000. So we're going to get this one. We're going to save money. Well, the machine took so long to come that they complained. So the company said, we're going to send you our $5,000 machine with 12 plates. You're going to love it. So they hook it up. They start drinking it. Well, they're not really feeling any difference. And the thing is, too, is these machines can't clean themselves. And calcium, minerals in the water will build up overnight in the machines. And then the machine can't make hydrogen. And so we see, right there, the first week, maybe they're getting some hydrogen, but after a couple weeks, a couple months, there's no hydrogen coming out. And then, like Amanda's saying, it's leaching heavy metals, these dangerous, toxic metals into the water. So this family, after a couple months, they said, yeah, we don't feel any different, and the water is tasting like metal. So where is the machine? $2,000 now in the trash, and now they're coming back to buy a machine. And, it's sad. And I just try to educate people from the beginning. Like, these are pieces of junk. Ours is medical grade, just like Amanda said, what kind of doctor you want, this is the best of the best. There is no, we have no competitors. People say we do, but there's no one even in the same ballpark as where we are. And so it's just a matter of education, and that you're not saving money, because in the end, you're going to end up spending more. So just make the right decision from the beginning.
That's so true. I used to work for Tony Robbins, and I followed him even before I had a chance to work for him. One of the things that he teaches is always follow model successful people, like what successful people do. And here, I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there listening, just look at these celebrities. I mean, what else do you need for proof? Like celebrities know they want to have as much reverse aging as possible because they're in the entertainment field, especially. They want to look youthful for as long as they can. They're not using any other machine when it comes to hydrogen water than the Enagic produced Kangen water machine. So for me and my family, and that's what I would say to the audience out there, follow successful people, do what successful people do. And I'm just so grateful and thankful to both of you, Amanda and Sharon. And so we hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to doing more of these. And again, thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Sharon. And we'll definitely
Thank you.
talk soon. Okay.
Thank you, Anthony. Bye,
Appreciate
Sharon.
it.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all.